Hi everyone, a very good afternoon and welcome to the AFC house here in Kuala Lumpur. Today we will be talking about the much anticipated draw for the knockout stages of the 2019 AFC Cup as well as the 2019 AFC Champions League. My name is Reem and I will be taking you through today's very engaging discussion. And joining me in just a bit are two guests who are no strangers to playing at the highest level of football in Asia. Former Singapore international John Wilkinson will be with us, as well as former Warriors FC midfielder Roshan Rai. Now, as we zoom in to the AFC Cup title, as you know, 7 teams are in contention following 4 months of intense action across the continent. And as the draw will be taking place tomorrow, let's refresh our memories for a bit to see the teams that are still involved, as well as what to expect in this draw mechanics video.
Draw procedure. Draw starts from zonal final pot, West Zone. The first drawn club from the pot will host the first leg of zonal final, with the second drawn club hosting the second leg. Next draw zonal final pot, ASEAN Zone. The first drawn club from the pot will host the first leg of zonal final, with the second drawn club hosting the second leg. Next draw from interzone playoff pot, Central, South, ASEAN and East zones. The first drawn club from the pot will host the first leg of interzone playoff semi-finals 1, with the second drawn club hosting the second leg. The third drawn club from the pot will host the first leg of interzone playoff semi-finals 2, with the fourth drawn club hosting the second leg. This will conclude the draw for the AFC Cup 2019 knockout stage.
All right, there you have it. High quality teams vying for the title this season. And to talk more about those teams, I have Roshan and John with me in the studio right now. Gents, thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts on the lineup this season, as well as the manner that they have gotten here? Maybe, John, you can start off with the ASEAN as well as the East Zone teams.
I've been really impressed, not just the quality, but the way that they've gone about their business. The brand of football that a lot of teams have used is exciting. They've engaged us as pundits, as fans, as football fanatics. It's just a really good style of play. April 25th, I thought have been really tidy to watch. The two Vietnamese sides in particular, I don't think they've been as measured as what we have seen them in the past, but they've been great fun. Lots of blood, guts and thunder. Been really impressed with Hanoi more than anything. I think eventually they'll, in a couple of years' time, I think they can make waves even in the AFC Champions League. But right now, playing a really good brand of football. Been really impressed with their captain, Kang Hai. He's certainly one of the best players in Southeast Asia right now. One light left foot, and Hanoi, they'll go deep in this competition.
I would agree with that. I mean, you look at the teams in there, ASEAN teams that have come through. Hanoi, I think, have been very impressive for me. April 25th as well, coming out of a very strong group, of a tough group as well, against Wufu Taipo, Kichi in there, Hang Yen in there as well, and they came out on top. And then when you look at the other teams that have gone through from the West, Al Ahad and Al Jazeera, and it's also just about different styles. And from the South, Abahani as well. They were in a competition with Chennaiyin essentially to see who would go through from their group, and Abahani was strong enough with the players that they have in there. And then when you think about a team from the Central Zone, Altin Nasir, who've been there before as well, they were also in a competition with Istiklal essentially. And the thing with Altin Nasir is that the change of styles from last year where they were scoring goals for fun, this year it's a bit more about making sure they're defensively secure. 2 wins and 4 draws that's seen them make their way into the next round of the competition. So one of the things that John touched on was the way teams have played. And I think it's important as well to sort of appreciate the different styles of football. Some sides find success being defensively very solid. Al Ahad, for example, in the West, have built their campaign up on being solid at the back, making sure they've got a good defensive structure. There's 3 goals conceded in their 8 matches in the competition so far. That's absolutely outstanding. They don't score too many, but they're very effective and they're very efficient. Al Jazeera, on the other hand, from the West Zone as well, but they've blown everyone away with their goal scoring. And coming back in the second leg of the semi-final, they were down 3-0 against Al Jaish. They come back, they score 4 goals in the second leg, and they go through into the final as well. So I think it's important to appreciate all the different styles of football that we see in the AFC Cup.
And John, for the likes of 4.25 SC, they're a regular, consistently qualifying to this stage of the season. How much of an advantage will their experience be, and is it enough to propel them further into the competition?
I don't think that experience is enough to propel you, but it certainly lays a solid foundation for you to build on. They've added a few younger players to their roster this season. Last season, I thought they were brilliant against Home United in the 2 legs that they played against them. Winning 2-0 away from home at Jalan Besar Stadium in Singapore, and they played a very defensive style, so can counter. And then when playing at home, win 9-1, 11-1 on aggregate. So they can play 2 styles of football. This season, their last 6 games in the AFC Cup, scored 17 goals. So they know how to get the goals. And as much as we talk about being defensively minded and very well organised, you want to go on and win games, you've got to get the ball in the back of the net. And April 25th have been doing that with gusto this season. Great fun to watch, very, very dynamic. Experience is key, but it's not everything.
And I think that experience comes in as well when you think about Alten Nasir, perhaps from the central zone, and they've been in the final last year. And some of these sides that are going through, and the teams that have stuck together essentially. When you think of Alten Nasir, it's essentially a few of the players play for the Turkmenistan national team, and they have experience in the AFC Asian Cup as well. They gave Japan a little bit of a scare in that competition, and it's players that have been in and around the team together, growing together. Ana Durdiev, Normeradov, for example, a beautiful number 10 to watch for them in midfield, just glides across the pitch. So you have that experience of growing together as a team, picking up these little experiences moving on in the competition. And it's not just about what happens on the pitch, what happens in games. It's also about preparation, building up to big matches, building up to a semi-final, building up to a final. And maybe a coaching staff will look at a situation, John, and say, what do we not do right in our build-up, in our preparation? And it gives them an opportunity to work on that once more if they eventually do come into that stage again.
All right, focusing a bit on the Central Asian sides, they have made it, I think, for the past 3 out of 4 editions, they've made it to the finals. They've been runner-ups. But do you think a team like Alten Nasir, can a team like that actually shine brightly this time around and just take it home, bring home the cup?
Absolutely, I don't see why not. As I've said, it's a team that's grown together. There's a structure in place. Yazguli Hoya-Yeldiev, who's their coach there, he's the coach of the national side as well. He knows these players inside out pretty much. And, again, they've built on that, the fact that they've been playing in this competition. They've had success, I would say, going all the way to the final last year, coming up against a very strong Al-Quwa Al-Jawiya side, lost by 2-0. And they'll learn from these situations. But, we can't discount some of the other sides, obviously, who will want to make an impact of their own. John's touched on April 25th. Again, a very strong team and one that missed out on the final last year, just on away goals. They lost out to Alten Nasir on away goals there. You've got Abahani from Bangladesh, who will think that, here's an opportunity for us to try and make a name for ourselves. And there are teams in there, Hanoi FC, another one who will fancy their opportunities, fancy their chances. So yes, we could see a different name on the cup this time around, perhaps, and perhaps one not from West Asia. Although I do have to say the West Asian sides will be favourites, and there could be some records as well. I mean, Al Ahed are looking to be the first Lebanese side to win the competition, so could be a bit of history in the making.
All right, gents, thanks for that. We're going to shift our focus next to the 2019 AFC Champions League.
Draw procedure. Draw starts with Club Pot West Asia. Since the clubs in West Asia are yet to complete the round of 16, there will be 4 draw balls in the pot, each containing 2 club names from each of the round of 16 matches. In order to select the hosting club of each quarterfinals, each ball will be drawn. First drawn club from the pot will host first leg of quarterfinals 1, with the second drawn club hosting the second leg. Third drawn club from the pot will host first leg of quarterfinals 2, with the fourth drawn club hosting the second leg. Next, draw from Club Pot East Asia. The same draw procedure shall be applied for clubs in the East. This will conclude the draw for the AFC Champions League 2019 knockout stage.
Welcome back to the studio for today's coverage of the 2019 AFC Champions League knockout stage draw. My name is Reem, and with me, as they have been throughout today, former Singapore international John Wilkinson, as well as former Warriors FC midfielder Roshan Rai. Gents, now quality teams wherever you look at this stage of the competition. John, maybe you can start off by talking about the teams from the East Zone. You know, how exciting they have been so far. Even the defending champions have made it through this time around, so we can talk about them a little bit.
Well, it's really exciting. I mean, it really is the best of what this continent has to offer. Kashima Antlers, they're still in the mix, of course. Whether they deserve that or not, I'm not so sure. I think if you get deep in this Champions League, then you deserve it. I haven't been overly impressed with them as yet, but that doesn't matter. They're still there. Uwara Reds, great pedigree in the competition, former champions, of course. SIPG. Of course they're exciting. The amount of money they've spent, the star quality they've got with Hulk and Oscar, Omar Akhmedov as well, who I think is just massively underrated. Not by me, certainly not by Roshan either in that central midfield area. I mean, the quality is just absolutely exceptional. And a lot of the players playing for Uwara Reds, for Kashima Antlers right now, they're not even current internationals because the national team is away on international duty, and they're still proving their worth. So yeah, really quality teams, really quality individuals.
Mm-hmm. Roshan, moving on to the West Asian side, I think the round of 16 has yet to be decided, but which teams have impressed you so far? Do you even want to maybe, talk about Al Hilal and how they've been?
Yeah, I think Al Hilal have been very impressive. Obviously, with the quality that they have in the side. When you think of the likes of Gomis in there, Al Dosari in there, and the players that they have throughout, Saudi Arabian internationals in that team, Al Sharani at the back, Al Buraik, Al Bulaihi, it's just the names, roll off the tongue really, and the quality that they have in that squad. But, I think when you look at the competition, when you look at the teams in the West Zone, there actually have been a few impressive performers overall. I think Al Wahda, what they've done under Hank Tenkate has been impressive, and he's of course left the club now. So there's also going to be question marks about Maurice Stein coming in and what sort of style will he implement, what sort of players can come in transfer window, and that's one of the interesting things about the Champions League. It spans that transfer window, so teams could just change in terms of quality as well. Players leaving, coaches leaving, new coaches coming in. But Al Nasser, another one who had to balance AFC Champions League and winning the Saudi Pro League title. So there's plenty of quality in the West Zone. And I think what the Saudi teams have done this year has been very impressive. 4 of them have gone through into the knockout stages. And last time that happened was in 2011, which is also the last time we had a champion from West Asia. So, it's when I look at the styles of play as well and teams that have gone through the Qatari sides, Al Duhail, Al Saad were in very difficult groups, and some of the names that missed out. Persepolis, for example, missed out on qualification to the next round. They were finalists last year. So there's lots of quality in there in the West Zone, and there are a few favourites in that part of the competition.
And John, the East Asian clubs have, of course, found a lot of success in this competition in the past 4 years. Why do you think that is? What is the edge that they've got?
Straight away, I think the amount of investment that's gone into Chinese football of late, I think that's had a knock-on effect for the J-League sides, the K-League Classic sides. The sides from Japan and Korea, they've put so much stock in the Asian Champions League. It's incredibly important for them, to the point where they will have import players that will only really take to the field in the Champions League, and they'll have another couple of import players that will just stick to the domestic competition. They put so much stock in the Asian Champions League. So when there was so much investment in the Chinese Super League for the Chinese clubs, then the Japanese teams really had to pull their finger out. They really had to up their game. And I mean, when you've got Guangzhou that invest heavily in coaching staff, in playing personnel, and end up winning the competition in 2013, and then winning it again in 2015, and then you've not had a J-League or a Korean side winning it in between that. It was Western Sydney Wanderers that won it in 2014. Then they really picked up. The Japanese sides, the Korean sides really picked up. It was great to see Shandong Luneng play their part so brilliantly in this edition, their first time in the Champions League. They put so much stock in it, Reem, and that's why they're committed to doing well and going deep in the competition.
Roshan, what do the West Asian clubs have to do then to step up and become very competitive in this competition? Because I think you mentioned the last time there was winner in 2014 from the West Asian
2011
side.
West Asia
2011,
Al-Sadd, that's right.
Al-Sadd, that's right. Yeah, do you believe that there is quality and space for them to step it up and change that this year?
Of course, and again, it comes down to a big part of it is finances, and we can't ignore that side of it. John has touched on the finances coming into the game in the Chinese league and the ability to bring high quality foreign players in there as well. And also when you look at a team like Guangzhou Evergrande, for example, who have won the competition twice already, high quality Chinese players in there as well to support the foreign players that come in. And you need that sort of base. It's not enough just to have good foreign signings if you don't have that base of good local players to help out sides. And we're seeing that, we've seen that in the East, we see that with Japanese sides as well now, because there's more money in the domestic game, so they can go and invest a little bit more, they can bring better quality Japanese players in. And the talent there, Japanese talent pool, we touched on Japanese football at times, the talent pool is massive, it's brilliant. They can send different sort of squads out to different international competitions and still be very competitive, and it's a sign of a strong league, and it carries forward for me, John, into the Champions League as well. But if you go back to the question about what can the West do, I think they're doing that as well. The investment that's coming. Al Hilal, for example, I've named all those players, and it takes money to sort of bring them in to make a strong side.
I think it's important to be able to move forward. You have to understand yourself really well. Japanese football, Korean football in particular, these two nations, they have a certain style that they stick to really well. So if you're a Japanese side, you know that you're always producing young midfield talent, and they're as good as anyone in the world. Japanese players are as good as any country in the world in producing midfield talent. So because of that, they know that they have to invest foreign talent in getting goals, maybe in forwards, in strikers, and in centre-backs. Korean football has the trademark is to be stoic defensively, very, very fit. They need expressive, creative players further forward, and so they'll invest foreign talent in such. I think West Asian sides right now, I think they have to understand their place a little bit more, their style a little bit more.
Not to go into stereotypes too much, but you tend to notice, certain styles of play with the different sort of zones. And you're right to say, that Korean sides, when they're in the competition, when you see them, they're a little bit more willing to change the style up a little bit. I'll give the example of Jeonbuk, for example, there, where they've got someone like Kim Shin-wook in there, where they can knock it long into them, and they don't mind doing that. And it's very effective, and it's part and parcel of football, which I have absolutely no problem with. And you see Japanese sides, and they like to play the ball on the ground, they like to pass it through midfield. In the West, you've got an emphasis with some sides on playing a bit more open, expansive game, attacking football. And with other sides, you do have, of course, teams that are more comfortable playing a bit more defensive, holding their ground, keeping their shape. A team like Persepolis, for example, under Ivankovic last season, that's how they made it into the final of the competition. So yeah, you get into these clashes of styles, and you go year after year. When you look at it in a bigger picture, you see East Asian teams have won it over the last few years or so. What can the West do? And the West absolutely understands that they need to step up. And I see that from some of these teams. I think there's a good possibility that we have good quality in there. Like I mentioned, the Qatari sides, Al-Sadd, Al-Duhail, have essentially the Qatar national team. Players from those two clubs make up the Qatar national team essentially. So there is quality in there to challenge.
All right, gents, thank you so much for your insights. Plenty of us to think about. And for the benefit of our viewers at home, the quarterfinals, the first leg, will be taking place on the 26th and the 27th of August, and the return leg will be played on the 16th, 17th, and 18th of September. And then, of course, the winners will proceed to play in the semifinal in October. So don't forget to watch the live draw that is happening tomorrow. For all the updates on Asian football, make sure you follow us on all the AFC digital channels. That's it from me, Reem. Thank you for watching.